Hey guys, um, I'm here to give you a little information on skip tracing tool for, this could be used for a repossessor, someone in the repossession business who is looking for a skip, and the person has a not, you find them in a town and they have a non-published number. So you've located them, you've gone through all your, you know, your contract with the lien holder, and you look for all the information, and you 411 them in the town, and you find out they live in, say, let's say Cleveland, Tennessee, and you call the 411 operator and you say, I'm looking for Jim Jones in Cleveland, Tennessee. And they say, well, sir, that's a non-published number. I can't give you that information. You say to them, is that, you don't hang up, you just say, is that on, you start, I used to keep a map on my desk, and when I'd call and I knew the town and I'd have it ready, and I'd go right down the list. Because the operator can confirm your information. So you say, is that, you start with the A's, is Jim Jones on Apple Street? The operator say no. And you go through all the A's, just keep going. No matter what they say, just keep naming the next street until you get them to either you get the right street, they hang up. If they hang up, you have to call back. Remember the street that you stopped on, and you say Jim Jones in Cleveland, Tennessee. You start with the B's, the C's. You just keep going down the streets until you get to the right, until they confirm the address. I have actually had it before with the operator. I had a guy once, he actually just, after going through this long enough, and he was a kid, he was a young guy, I guess he was, he just gave me the address. He just said, that's on so-and-so. So that could happen, probably rare, it would be a rare occasion that happens. But you keep going through the names of the streets, trying to get the operator to confirm the street. And if you get the operator to stay on the phone and you hit the right street, they're going to confirm it. Jim Jones on Reebok Street. Yep, I have a Jim Jones on Reebok Street. And then you have to go through the numbers. Is that on 1 Reebok Street? They say no. Then once they said no, I'd say, is it 1 through 50? No. Is it 50 through 100? No. And you keep going through until you narrow it to a certain point. So if it's through 100 to 150, then you say, is it 51, 52, 53, 100, whatever it is, you just keep going through. If they hang up on you, just remember where you left off and you go back, because every little bit of information is going to help you on obtaining this address. And that's what you're going for. You're going for the address. If it's a skip and you're in the repo business and you're looking for somebody, this is a good tool to use. I used it many times. It will help you. Sometimes it can take you, 10 calls to call the operator. And sometimes you can get somebody who'll stay on the whole time and confirm the information for you. So it's a great skip tracing tool for you to use to find your debtor, and I used it many times. So I hope it helps you out. This is to be used for, as a skip tracing tool. There's other reasons that people could use this information. I'm not going to mention that, but it can help you out and get paid. And that's what you're trying to do. You need to find the car. You need to get paid, and this tool will definitely help you. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them. It's been a little while since I've been in the repo business. It's probably been about 10 years. I did it on and off since I was 18. Started as a driver, and then I was doing repossessing cars. If you have any questions about repoing cars, and I can help you. I worked for a full service agency, and we did more than just, we did it all. We skip traced, we picked up the cars, we did locksmithing service. That means we made the keys. We'd make keys from the key codes provided from the client that we were working for. If they had it, we'd obtain it through removing the door panel or looking inside the car, inside the glove compartment. That's another tool you should be looking if you're repoing cars and you need a key code. today they're using a lot of transponder keys, so it's not as easy to get a car and have a transponder key, because you have to have the right tool for that, and that's a whole nother story. But it is gonna getting to use. You have to learn all your tools to help you get paid, and that's what you want to do. You see these TV shows on True TV, and where the guys are, I know it's a stage show or whatever. You cannot fight with with a debtor. If there's a fight that breaks out, you can't touch somebody. I mean, that's a breach of the peace. It's a civil matter, and once you breach the peace, in most states, I don't know all the laws in every state, but you can't put your hands on somebody else. You can protect yourself, but once you start it escalates above to a normal situation where a fight's going to happen, somebody starts swinging, you have to leave the area. You can't stay there. You have to. So these guys who go out and do the repos, most of my repos that I did, they were at night. I snuck around. I was creeping. I was creeping around. And another good tool to use in repo, in finding your debtor, is doing surveys. And this can be a tricky, it could be a tricky, situation here. Because who likes to get a call from somebody out of the blue? If you have the number, there's a lot of tricks that people do when they have their telephone numbers. They could have, some people, if they have a landline, they move from one situation. They can have the wire in the basement of the house cut off, or even the new owners of the house don't even know that box is down the basement. And then they forward the call to another number. So in the basement, or on the side of the house, or on the business, there could be a little box. And I worked for a guy who he did this himself. He had a number go to a certain house up the street, and he actually ran the wire about 500 yards of wire for a phone service. So he had a phone line up the street. But you can also, what I was telling you is use a little box, forward a call to another area, to another house. So what people used to do is, like, this happened a few times, was, you have the number for somebody, you know where that number goes to, but that person's never there, but you've talked to them on the phone. So say you call up and you say, this is Jim Jones, I represent Ford Motor Credit, I'm trying to find out, I'm looking for, is this Jim Jones? Yes, it's Jim. I'm trying to find out what, you don't want to announce that you're the repo guy. You just say, yeah, I represent Ford Motor Credit. And they said, and you talk to the guy, and he said, oh, things are tough, and and you say, yeah, well, what's going on? Is the car insured? Who do you have it insured with? You try to get as much information as you can. And I know I'm rambling a little bit off the subject, but you have to get as much information from him, and then I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. I want to go back to the surveys. So say you have a number where somebody's at, and you call the house, you have something written down, and this is what we used to do. We used to do a pizza survey. And I used to call up the house, and I knew I was speaking to the person, or I knew the person, I already talked to him there, but I want the address. So I would say, or I'd have somebody else call, or somebody else had called and found, we know we're talking to the right person, and we'd call up and say, hello, Mr. Jones, my name is Mike Thompson. I represent a local pizza agency doing some advertisement and giving out you have to keep the person online, so you want to get them there's a free coupon for 2 free pizzas to a local pizza place. You tell them that. So whatever your local pizza place is, I can give you a free coupon. Get that in as quick as possible, because if they know you've got a local pizza place, they think they're going to get a free pizza, they'll stay on the phone. Doesn't always work. So then you have a list of a couple questions. We used to have 10 questions that we'd go through, and the object again was to get to the last question, which was, where do I send the coupons to? And this would really work a lot, but you got to keep them on the phone. Some people don't want to have a coupon. They don't care you're selling something. So you got to say, hey, I'm giving away a free coupon. Just have to answer a couple questions. Once they agreed to it, I shortened it up from 10 questions to like 3. How many people in the household? How many times out do you eat? How many times a week do you eat out? Real simple. And then I say, thank you for answering these questions. Wasn't that simple? Where can I send your free coupon to for a free pizza, for 2 free pizzas, at your local, A1 pizza? And a lot of times that worked, to find the address. Because you do have, and this is what I was telling you before, you might have the number, and it might go to a certain address. But every time you go to that address, you go there, and the person's never there. No one's ever there. So you're like, I know I'm talking to this person, so that's another good tool to use to find people is doing a pizza survey. And let's see. Well, leave some comments, and I'll see. Maybe I'll make another video on some stuff I used to do. I liked working in the repo business. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of long hours. Drive. When I first started in the repo business, when I first started going out on my own, and I would have a driver, and we'd go out and I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time driving around because I was gung ho. I wanted to find the car. So I'd go through the contract that was sent to me, and I would be, I just thought you go to the house and it's there, and you don't want to waste your time, especially now with gas prices. You don't want to waste your time going driving to areas where there's no person. So when you go out to find a car, you want to make sure that the car is there. You don't want to waste your time. There's many services out there. They have spoof cards, so you can trick your number, fake your number when you call somebody so they don't know where you're calling from. We used to do tons of stuff. We used to have free cell phones. We used to send if you get a cell phone in the mail with free 100 minutes, somebody's looking for you. Nothing's free, but they might send you, skip tracers will use that, free calling card in the mail, where they get a calling card, and hey, wow, I got a free calling card with 100 free minutes. Well, yeah, you get 100 free minutes, but they're tracking all your calls where you call from. And another tool we used to use was the trap line. So when you call an 800 number, and we used to have, I would use the number. I would call. This is another little trick of the repo business, a trap line, and that meant that I had an 800 number, and when you called that number, I had called you. Let's say I call and leave you a message, and I might call your mother's house, and I did this a lot, and if I had your mother's number, I'd call your mother and say, hi, I'm so-and-so. I just got a check in the mail, because people want money, and this was my little thing I used to use, and I used to say, Mrs. So-and-so, I just got a check in the mail from, that was addressed to so-and-so. I think it was a mistake. Is so-and-so there? No. Well, can you give me his number? Well, I can't, but I can give, they might say I can give him a call. All right, well, I'm at work right now, I used to tell them. So have him give me a call at work. My number is 800. It was 637. I still know the number to this day. It's 10 years later. I'm not going to say it. And I don't know if it's still in use, but and I'd give them an extension number, my extension. My extension number was their file number. And I would take their file number. So they call the 800 number. Our office, we had a phone, and it would ring, and it would say, the line, that we have somebody on the line with extension, let's say 521. So I knew it was somebody calling. I had a place to call, 521. That belongs to so-and-so. I could either answer the call, which I usually didn't answer the call. They could leave a message. But what it did was, I got the address to where they were calling from. And when I used to say that I had a check for them, that I mistakenly got a check from so-and-so for this person, they're going to call you. They're thinking, if people can't afford to pay their bill, they think they have some money coming to them, they're going to call you. They're going to call you from work, from their cell phone. They're going to call you from their friend's house. They want to know where this check is. So it's a good tool. Some of the things I used to do in the repo business. Hey, if you're in the repo business, leave some comments below. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope to read some good comments, and I'm sure I'm going to get some negative ones, but thank you. We'll talk to you later. If I made any mistakes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to give you some info. I'm not reading from a script or anything. I'm just trying to give some info. All right? I'll talk to you later. Adios.